turn. Please put your hands together for Mik Scarlet.
Thank you very much, thank you very much. Yes indeed, I am Mik Scarlet. I suppose I ought to introduce myself. I am a TV presenter, a broadcaster, and when I'm not doing, I'm a journalist as well. So I'm going to put a shout out now. If anyone's got any stories, I do personal interest stories. So if you've got a story, if you've got a hobby you do, or something like that, please tell Chewy, he'll tell me, and then we'll get in touch, and I'll run a story about you. But I will repeat that at the end as well, because in between you might fall asleep, because I'm going to be talking mainly about me, my favourite subject. Because when Chewy said, oh, we're doing how to, live an ordinary life, that's no good, we can't have that. We don't want an ordinary life, we want to live an extraordinary life, because we are feeling great. The word normal gets bandied around a lot, doesn't it? I don't want to be normal. I'm ever so sorry, but you normal types need to learn from us. It's not the other way around. We don't need to be like you, we need to be more like us. And we need to be given a chance to live a life however we want to live it. If that is living it ordinary, wearing a shirt and tie. Oh God, I've got one myself. Right, that's fine. If you want to wear and dress like Batman every day, great. What's wrong with that? I mean, you will see some photographs shortly of me in my youth, and you'll see precisely what I mean. So I thought when we're exploring this idea, let's show you some pictures from my youth. So let's do the first slide, please. That's it. Hello. There you go, that's it. And here we go. I unveil a picture of me as a baby. Do you know what? I've done this one a couple of times in rooms full of blokes, and they all go, oh. So I'm very glad there are some women here going, oh, because I was a cute baby. And also, you noticed that I've got spiky hair. In fact, I can tell you why I've got spiky hair, because I was born with cancer, right? And they went, oh, he's got cancer, he's going to die. And my mum was like, oh dear, that's very sad. My dad was a bit upset because he just bought me a Luton Town football kit. Because I come from Luton. Sorry, Ipswich Town fans, but yes, I do. And
so... best in the world.
Luton, see, I've probably been a pretty good player for Luton, because quite frankly, every time Luton ever go up, they always go straight down again, don't they? Anyway, and so I was rushed to hospital, and my doctor said, well, let's give him a go. So they gave me this new drug that they've never tested on anyone before. Me and 6 other guys got tested with this new drug. And the side effect of the drug was that it made your hair grow spiky. And I've never been able to get it to lay down since. Now, it was no good in the 70s, because in the 70s, it was all long and groovy. But when the late 70s and punk came in, suddenly I was cool. Anyway, so that's me. Do you like the picture up there there's a picture up there with me in the bath?
Yeah.
Do you notice that the bath is actually my mum and dad's sink?
Oh yeah.
And do you also notice that I'm so old that all of these pictures are in black and white? There's no colour baby pictures in my baby book. Oh no. And my mum's got a beehive. So that's how old I am. There's some really sweet pictures of my mum and dad on the back of a Vespa, right? And they were mods, but they were mods before it was called mods. They were called modernists, right? And they wore Italian stuff, and it hadn't moved into modern culture, so it was so cool. Then I came along and ruined it. Right, next slide, please. Right, so. There's going to be a lot of these. So anyway, I luckily I did survive. I beat the cancer. Yeah. I like you guys. I've never had a round of applause for beating cancer before. But it's right. My little nephew recently, he had leukemia, and he beat it too. And at school, all the kids were bullying him for having had cancer.
Very nice.
I mean, what kind of weird kids are you? You're not dead. It's like. But then that's what we got to face. Luckily, when I was at school, in fact, when I was at this age, that's me and my younger brother Stephen in the left sort of corner there with our school ties on. And it was about this age that I had a bully at school called Andrew Soper, and he used to call me names. And then one day, I found him alone in the changing room in the PE. And do you remember at school when they used to have the little low coat hooks when you were at middle school?
Oh yeah.
So I grabbed hold of them, because at the time I could walk. I had a caliper on one leg, but other than that I was alright. So I grabbed hold of them and I swung it. And I kicked him where boys don't like to be kicked. And he went down and he started crying. And you know when someone cries and they go boo hoo boo hoo and you think, ah ha ha, I beat you. And then they go boo hoo boo hoo and you go, oh dear. And then they go boo hoo boo hoo boo and you're like, oh, I think I've killed him. I think I've broken him now. I think I'm in trouble. I'm going to see the headmaster. There's going to be big trouble. And then he got up and he went, I don't ever want you to do that to me again. Will you be my friend? And so he became my best mate for the rest of my entire school life. And so, annoyingly, apparently now you can't do that. Because I said to my little nephew, if they say, you had cancer, just kick them in the nuts. Language, Timothy. Kick them in the place that boys don't like. But apparently you can't do that, you get kicked out of school now. So that's why being at school in the 70s was great. Yeah, no, especially if you've been kicked with my little leg, because it won't do it. Right, and the top slide is me and my brother on Christmas Day. We've got a Scalextric that day. I'll never forget it. It's burned in my memory. Anyway, next slide, please. So, I got older, and that's me looking cooler. Now, the picture in the garden up there, the one on the, let's see if you're looking at it, on the right, is me dressed as Captain Scarlet. You see, he was indestructible. Now, this was something that my mum used to say to me, because when I was brought up, my mum always said to me that because I was disabled, I was better than everybody else. Because all my friends would go, oh, I've got my leg, oh, I've got a funny headache. And I'd be like, I don't care, I have cancer, I've got a metal leg and I'm still having fun. And every time I was ill, I just got better, I bounced back. I was like Captain Scarlet, I was indestructible. And that's something that we never get told, do we? We don't get told. We're amazing, that we do stuff. We battle through stuff and we achieve things that no one expected us to achieve. When I was a baby, my doctor said he won't live past 5, he'll be dead by the age of 5, he'll never sit up, he'll never walk, and he'll never be any good. Sat up, walked, went to school, did it, and we always prove everybody wrong because we're so damn amazing. So always remember that. Never let anyone go, not as good as us. We are, and we're better. So, next one, please. Now I'm going through that awkward phase at this point. I've stopped being cute and started being spotty and a bit uncomfortable. That's me when I was. Oh man, I've got. Thank you. No, that was going. Anyway, the picture in the middle is that's me, and that's the last time I ever walked. That's the last picture. I was on holiday in Somerset. Now you see, you say and it was quite traumatic. I was quite unwell. My back collapsed on the way to my German O-level. I went to school, right, and I got up in the morning and I went to my mum and said, oh, my legs are really hurting, I don't feel very well. And my mum went, yeah, you're just trying to get out of going to school. So she booked a cab and sent me to school. I arrived, and I still remember it, my geography teacher, I pulled up, the cab driver opened the door and I collapsed in a heap at his feet and I was rushed to hospital. And I never walked again. But my school sent my German teacher to my bedside to make sure that I did my German O-level. So, the fact that they all thought I got cancer again and might be dying didn't make a difference to my school because they wanted to make sure that I had an O-level in German. And believe it or not, I passed. And don't ask me to speak a word of German. I can say, ich möchte ein Pound Apfel bitte, and that's about enough. Because it was a long while ago. This is 1981. Anyway, this was the vague dalliance into fashion. I didn't do it very well at the time, but I was a Mad Gary Newman fan. Anyway, next slide please. I can't remember. Do you know what? I can't remember what's coming next. This is me out of hospital, looking quite poorly, being held together by a plastic brace. But more importantly, look at the wheelchair. Look at the night. That's what wheelchairs were like when I came out of hospital. These little horrible grey things. Now, got a cool sporty job, look like something from a science fiction film. Back then, there you go mate, that'll do. You looked at Ironside and thought, cool, he's got a cool chair. It's just not right, is it? The funniest thing is, trust me, this haircut was very fashionable at the time. It was called a wedge, right? And it had a long bit at the front, and at the back it went up. And you had what was called a cheese cutter wedge, and it looked a bit like a conker. It was dead cool. Well, that's what I was telling myself anyway. The truth is, it's not. But you see the little models on the side there. You've got the Space 1999 spaceship. You've got another spaceship. I did like spaceship. And then you've got that praying mantis. I made all them in hospital as something to do. So it's great, because this is the thing, you see, you're in hospital, you want to do something that's fun. They come around, they used to give basket weaving when I was in hospital. There you go, and it's like, I don't want to weave baskets, I want to make spaceships. Not out of basket. That would be bad, but I suppose I didn't know I had a basket. Anyway, next slide please, before I waffle on about baskets too much. So, as you can tell, things fell apart in the fashion stakes. I discovered one key element of being in a wheelchair, which was that people looked at you. And so I thought, well, people look at you. When you're disabled, they stare. So I'll give them something to stare at. So, you see, everyone should have a weird haircut. I've still got one. Yeah, see, we've all had it. I bet we've all had it, haven't we? We've all had someone go, you are, and then fill in blank of whatever they think is a swearing, horrible word to describe what you are. Well, I'll tell you what, looking like that, very few people came up to me and went, oh, you're in a wheelchair, because they were all too busy going, what the living hell's the state of your hair? Especially my stepdad, who could not stand it. And, but, the other thing I learned very early on was that one great thing about a wheelchair is it's a really handy tool if you want to chat up a girl. That's what you do, you're in a club, you go you're in a club and there's something there, you go I'm accidentally wheeling towards you and accidentally just clipped your foot. I'm ever so sorry. Can I buy you a drink? To make up. And it worked. I didn't actually meet my wife that way. I actually scared her by jumping up and hanging onto a bar going, hello, what's your name? But, you know. Anyway, so you can also tell that this is the beginning of some interesting hair colours. I went from blonde to black. That's the bottom right. Don't you think I look like Toya Wilcox? Does anyone remember Toya Wilcox? I don't know how I managed to look like Toya Wilcox, but I did. And the rest of them I was quite gothy. Next slide, please. This is a... Yes, you see, I never, ever forgot the art of cute. Because whether you like it or not, when you're a disabled kid, you're always very cute, aren't you? And then you get to a certain age, and then you stop being cute. Don't stop being cute. Stick with cute. This is Lion.
Good night.
Lion was my friend, and Lion came everywhere with me. He would live in my right pocket, and we would go clubbing together. And when someone would come up and say, hey Mick, do you want a drink? I'd go, yeah, I do. And so does Lion. We'd both have a vodka and orange, please. And he would bring me 2 vodka and oranges. And it was another icebreaker with girls. It's running them over, because you've got to be careful with running them over. Because a subtle light tap, fine. Squashing their toes and you get a punch. And no amount of drink will make up. Can I buy you a drink? No, because you just broke my toe. I actually did slow dance with a girl I really fancied at a school disco when I was 15. I could still walk. And I had a caliper on and we were slow dancing. And all of a sudden she let out this blood-curdling scream and I was like, what have I done? And I stood on my foot with my leg that I couldn't feel very well. And I had actually broken her toe. And I had to help her home. I'll never forget walking over this poor injured girl going, she's like, it's all right. It's like, no, it's not. Anyway, next slide, please.
What?
So, someone said to me this morning, do you know you look a bit like Simon Le Bon? Well, I went through a phase of being very, very, very into my clothes and my music. And this period, I was trying to be a musician. I was in bands, I was sort of trying to do gigs. I was doing it, I went on tour all over the country. And I kept, doing gigs and stuff and dressing up. Because I think, we how to live a life, an ordinary life. Or dress like an idiot. That's what I think. I just go with dressing up. There's a young man over here wearing ripped jeans, made himself, ripped jeans with leopard print underneath. And I think that blue denim outfit there, that's got white tiger print underneath. So, I like your style, man, I like your style. Anyway, next slide, because, you know, that is me gigging. And what was really funny was, the band I was in at the time, we'd got loads of followers, we went all around the country, went all around Europe playing live, and then we'd go to meet record companies, and they'd all go, who wants to put a picture of a bloke in a wheelchair on their wall? I'd be like, who doesn't? You know? But so in the end, I in the end I gave up actually after a while, but the good thing was, one day I was in a pub, and I was doing a gig, and I had a computer on stage. This is back when computers were much bigger than they are now, and it blew up. It kind of went bang. So all the music stopped and everything. So I had to quickly fiddle about and try and fix it. So I fixed it. And while I was fixing it, I did this. I just talked. Because the last thing you really want to do in a pub, especially a pub in Luton, is fix a computer on stage, because they will throw things at you. They will. So I was telling jokes and having a laugh, and this bloke came up to me and he went, "You're really good at talking. Do you want to come and do a screen test for a TV show?" I went, "Oh, TV show. That might get me a record deal," because at the time, everyone that was on telly was getting a record deal. You know, Kylie and Jason. And I thought, why not me? So I said yes. Next slide, please. And so I did some television, and this is me. Oh, wait. I'll stay over here. This is me on television. What's really funny is the black and white picture is my first day on television. It's a bit of a weird outfit, isn't it? I look back and think, how did I break into television? Because I think she got me nip out. I was on telly going, "Hello girls." And the other two pictures were on the Kids TV show that I did. Now, one of the first disabled Kids TV presenters ever. Now, you know Sherry Burnell that's on at the minute?
Yeah.
Girl with the arm. Right.
Yeah.
Sherry Burnell, she presents kids television on BBC One.
Yeah.
And she's got one arm. So, loads of people, Daily Mail, "Oh my God, disabled woman on television, what are we going to do?" Right? I was on telly, no one wrote in once. I mean, I had one letter of complaint. I had more complaints about the way I dressed. No one cared about the wheelchair. So, whenever anyone goes, "Oh, hasn't it got better since the Paralympics?" You think, well, no, not really. Things are kind of like that, aren't they? Right? So what we need is more of us on telly, of all different types of people. We need to be seen so that people understand we're part of society. Next slide, please. Now, this is my kids' television suit. This was what I wore on Kids. A bright red leather bike suit. Because I'm Mik Scarlet, so I wore a red scarlet suit. It all made sense. The kids loved it. They thought it was great. You know, I don't think anyone ever remembers the show, probably not, because it was quite a long while ago. But what we do is we get a group of disabled kids and a group of non-disabled kids. They didn't know each other, we'd put them together, and then we'd say something like, "Run a restaurant, do a fashion show, go to France," and then have to do everything. And what it did was it proved that we're all the same. The kids they met, they immediately got on, they made all these lifelong friendships, they did all this amazing stuff. We don't see that now, do we?
No.
We need that back, because that would make us ordinary, wouldn't it? We wouldn't be different, we'd be, you know, same difference. Anyway, and as you can tell, it was quite outrageous. The knee pads, they come from baseball in America, what the umpire wears. And if I remember rightly, that's my space cowboy knee pads. And on one I've got a set of handcuffs, because I'm a space marshal. And on the other one I've got a gun. Never wear a gun in public, because you will get arrested on many occasions, and I did. And I went from having a real gun, like one that could look realistic, I painted it to look real, to having a bright pink fluorescent gun that was a copy of the one from RoboCop, but bright pink. Like there you go, pink. And I still got policemen going, "Excuse me, sir, is that a real gun?" It's like, a real gun? It looks like it's sweets. Anyway, so that's a handy tip. Not that anyone would, but there you go. That's not ordinary, that's very silly. Next slide, please. And it did mean that I got lots of coverage and stuff, and it got me in the eye, and it got me to raise. This went out in 1991. So, you know what I mean? But what's sad is we're still having the same arguments. You know, well, if you can read that, you can't because it's too small. But it basically says, you know, we're all the same. We all want the same experience. We want to do the same stuff as everybody else. What's so different about being disabled? It's not that big a deal, surely. But apparently it is. But there you go. No, it's not. We know the truth.
Yeah.
And one day they'll wake up to it. Because as I always say to everyone I meet who's not disabled, always remember, we're the only club that has anyone. Aren't we? We're the only ones. You can wake up and be part of our gang. So if you make the world better for us, you're making the world better for yourself. Because the next day, you might not be one of us today, but you might be one of us tomorrow. And seeing as the whole world is gradually getting older and older, it won't be that long before they're all old. And when they get old, they will be one of us. And so if they get, well, especially me, because I'm well on the way, aren't I? You know. But, you know, that's it. I'm trying to get the world accessible now, so that when I get too old to worry about it, it'll be all right for me. Because there is nothing more annoying than continually fighting, is there? Although, you start to do, you know, get up in the morning and swear. I'll move on now. Next slide, please.
Nope.
And I like to go all around the world. That's me in New York. You can tell it was before the Twin Towers because they're both there. There's a picture of me at the bottom doing a programme for the BBC about how the way we see disabled people has been shaped by the Victorians and how they viewed society. And it's true. Before the Victorian era, we were far more part of society. That people found jobs for us. Yeah, of course, people, you know, it was hard because there wasn't the medicine and that. But we were far more part of society. It was only when Victorian England started putting us in institutions and separating us and getting us out of the way that we disappeared. And also, there was this idea that in some way we'd done something wrong, that we were being punished. So it's really important to know that it wasn't always like this, and it means that if you know that, you know you can change stuff. And that's the great thing. Things like this today, you're all getting here together to tell the world what you want to do. You're telling your local area and you're telling the whole world how you want things to be. And that's the great thing, because together we are always going to be stronger. Next slide, please. Now, this is me, and it is a bit me, isn't it? But there was a point to it, but I've forgotten what the point of all this was, because I'm just talking about me, and that's my favourite subject. Believe it or not, this is me modelling at London Fashion Week in 1996. You can tell that even then I sucked in quite a lot. No, this top was slightly nylon, so you could see through it. And I had to wheel across the stage going, sorry, I could hardly breathe. That'll do, next slide. Now, disaster! In 1999, I was driving my little red sports car round Marble Arch. And a lorry cut the corner and run it over. And in the ensuing accident, I broke my back again. Now, what's funny about that is when you're in a wheelchair, they can't find out that you've broken your back, because the way they find out if you've broken your back is go, can you feel your legs? And so if you can't feel your legs, they go, oh, you're all right. So they sent me home, and it took them 3 years to find out that the reason why I wasn't very well was because I'd broken my back. So I was rushed into hospital again, and I had new surgery, and this surgery was amazing, because this surgery replaced my spine with titanium. So I am now officially Wolverine. And what's funnier is apparently the amount of metal in my back is worth over £250,000 on the scrap metal market. So, it's no good to me. I can't melt it down, can I? Because if I do, I'll be, oh, really? But it does mean, you know, I have to film my wife every time I go to sleep. Just on the off chance, so I've got to make sure I wake up, because otherwise she might melt me down. But it does mean, it's one of the things I was thinking, have you seen in the press that they're going to build this long barrow, and like a funeral place for people to be buried in, so they get buried like they used to do in like the Stone Age. And I'm thinking I might actually sign up for that, because I'd love to see Time Team 3000 with Tony Robinson as a robot, digging me up and going, what's this? Look at this skeleton. Look at the barbarism and the backward medical techniques that they've used. And he's got all this, he must have been high status, because he's got all this metalwork. Have you noticed how no one ever gets dug up and they're low status? You watch all those historic programmes and they go, oh, we've got this skeleton, look, he must have been high status, he's got a sword. You think, they all had swords.
Yeah.
If they didn't, they got stabbed. The last thing you want to do is be the man without a sword in a fight with a man with a sword. Anyway, next slide. Sorry, I'm just waffling now, aren't I? Yes, this is my wife. She actually, wonderfully, we met before I was ill last time, but she saw me through, nursed me through, and then she married me. The fool. And that's us on our wedding day. Doesn't she look amazing? I look terrified. I spent most of the day trying not to cry. Yeah, now she's got blue hair. We do muck about with our hair quite a lot in our house. We've got a whole cabinet full of hair dye. I also cut her hair as well, so anything that would do with her hair is my fault. I cut my hair too, but that's why it looks good to there and then goes a bit wrong. Next slide, please. So I did fight back. It's quite hard getting back into the media because they do like their firsts. And it's something I'd say to all of you. Have you noticed we've got quite a few disabled people now in the media, but we haven't got many people with learning disabilities and learning difficulties. And there is a market. They will be looking for someone now. So, if you are any good at doing bits to camera, writing articles, anything like that, stick them online and send them to the BBC. They've got a special talent department, just for BBC Talent, they'll come up. Wow. Channel 4 have got a Channel 4 talent department as well, right? And because I know that they are chomping at the bit to find someone that would be good on camera. So, this could be your break. Right, and if anyone ever needs any tips, I am more than willing to come down and go, right, let's do how to talk to camera television type lessons, because it's not as hard as you think. I always say, the best way to do it, right, is imagine you're talking, say, to someone you love, or someone that you want to impress. So say, I'm presenting to you, hello, welcome to the show. And you say, I'm talking to you, so you talk to the camera in exactly the same way as you talk to someone you like or someone you know. And that way, you always come across as lovely. See? I used to think it was my mum. I always used to present to my mum. And then I got married, and now I present to my wife. Of course, annoyingly, she's normally standing behind the camera. Today, she's out there working, because she's got a new job. Work, I don't know. Anyway, let's see. Next slide, please. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's me sucking in again. Wow. Now what I do a lot is I do a lot of campaigning. In fact, I've even discovered that there is good money in going around and telling people stuff about stuff. Right? There is now an industry called What I Think. Right? And you can be someone like Katie Hopkins, otherwise horrible, or you can be not horrible, but you can tell people what you think. Another way of carving a career in the media is go out there and become the spokespeople for your community. Say, this is what it's like to be our gang, and then explain how you want to be treated and what the world could do to make the world a better place for you, and that'd be it. So that's me telling the world what I think. The picture of me there with leaders questioned underneath it is me trying not to go, I was going to swear, but I've noticed that this crowd doesn't like swearing quite as much as some do. So I'll say, ooh, fiddly-dee. Fiddly-dee, I was going to say. Promise. And that's me on 5 News talking yet again about something, I don't know, always. Do you notice that you get asked to talk about being disabled a lot? Yeah. And you sort of go, do you know what, I've said this 1,000 times, I don't know how many more times I can say, just stop being an idiot. Stop treating us different, we're not. We just want to be treated with respect. We want to be loved and cuddled and given good jobs and money. That's it. Next button, next question, button. That's the one slide. That's it. That's the one slide, please. Right, and that's me on the... Now I go on, that's me on the right stuff. And on the paper review, they haven't asked me back recently, so I'm a bit worried I might have said something to offend someone. And that's me training to be a weatherman. The BBC run a course for disabled people to do a weather course. And apparently I got called into a little room after the training. And the guy that ran the training, he went, Mick, you're a great presenter. He goes, you're brilliant. But I don't think the weather's for you. Now, that's not really what you want to hear when you just spend a week trying to train to be a weather presenter. But he did say that one of the issues was that my hair would interfere with the blue screen of the weather. I think he was just trying to be nice, because what he really meant was you look a right state and there's no way you can come on the news and go, oh yeah, there's been a terrible disaster and now the weather. So, I think that might be about it. Let's just press the last slide. Down, that's it, that's the one. Yes, so now it's that's kind of it. I don't know what the future will hold, because in this job, who knows what's happening. But what we do have is some question time. So if you've got any questions about anything, right, we're going to have someone running around with a microphone. Do you want to do the microphone thing? You ready to do Mike?
Yes, good. I think...
Is there a question?
Or are we not?
Yeah, we are. We're definitely doing questions.
Right.
Anybody got any questions?
So we have a question in the, we've got a question from the operator. I think we should let the operator ask the first question.
Who's going to run around?
There you go, Kim. We've got a question here, because we've got the, you know, you need to, the person that's ridden the computer.
Me and my brother did that part of the story and BBC, what you were doing on the telly. Me and Derek really want to keep that part.
Well, as I said, we need more of you on telly all the while, right? In fact, I think one, because years ago, right, when I was young, there used to be a show for disabled people, made by disabled people. And don't you think that we need that back? Don't you think we need, and don't you think that it needs to be broader? Because it used to be like, we mainly it was physically disabled people who did it, but it needs to be all of us, doesn't it? It needs to be a show for everybody, presented by us, made by us, for us, all disabled people. We don't want see here, we want all of it. So you've got all of the communities together, once a week, doing a roundup of stuff, presented by us, made by us, for us. In fact, what we actually want is our own channel.
Yeah, I know that one more. I'm not your mother.
Old school.
Oh yeah, I like old school. Many years ago, I did a gig in Bristol, and it was the first time I'd been on a big stage, like a stage as big as this. And I went on, and I went, oh yeah, come on, rock and roll, and I started doing all this stuff. And then my lead got caught around the wheel, and then the lead went round the wheel. So I was wheeling along, stage, and I went like this. I was like, yeah, come on, I'm gonna do it. And it went down and down and down until I got this tiny little bit of lead. And then I had to go backwards, undoing it, still singing. So I won't move very much this time, because I don't want to put on myself. Next question, where's it coming from?
Mark.
You.
Mick. Well, I got your question.
What?
Well, people disabled, they've got a right to speak up, because do not let people sit on you, because people's got a right to know, wait, in this film star, because I did a film star not ages ago, nobody can matter to do to sit on you, because I'm not getting away with it, because you've got a voice, it goes out far out away.
You're absolutely right. Right on. However, always remember that if they're cute, they can sit on you. It's only the ones that you don't like that can't.
Hello everybody, most of you know me already. My name's Mark. I've actually been doing, I'll do that in the end, but I'll do a lot of music and I love to do media. I always love to do media. But it always seems to be hard when you've got a learning disability, hearing impairment, visual impairment, and sometimes they say, oh, I love to do media, I love to, to go there. And then they talk about equipment. Oh, we haven't got the screen reader there, can you bring your own laptop, whatever, and it's still very difficult to do it. So they want people to do it, they've got the ability to do it, but sometimes they haven't got the money or the equipment. How do you go about that? And because I love doing media, I would want to do that without having to break away, without the breaking barriers.
Right.
I would.
Yeah, no. The equipment question is relevant. It's really good, because one of the great things about being now than ever before is everything is much, much cheaper. You can, I now I've got at home in my bedroom, in my studio, an editing bit of software for video that was the equivalent of what we used to have to use at the BBC. It was worth hundreds of thousands of pounds, and I nicked it off the internet. So now that bit we do want to edit out. I got it off the internet. But So, you know, and the camera quality, now your mobile phone is now transmit quality.
Yeah.
So you don't, so stuff like that is fine. The subtitling, it is a picture. If you've ever tried to use YouTube subtitling, it's a comedy. So what you want to do, I always find, because I think doing it yourself's best anyway, because you know what you said, you know how you said it.
Yeah.
So you can,
Yeah, you can edit,
you film a bit, edit it, then see what you said, and then copy it
We
down.
had, just a quick one, we had a bit of an issue with people who are blind and partially sighted as well, whereby audio description is supposed to be on the universal on every platform. And what we found is they're not.
It's not.
You know,
But you know what,
we're not
right?
even beaten up.
The great thing is
You know
about,
what I mean?
the great thing is that, like you said, you're giving a voice to that community that needs to be got out there. So what you need to do, because like the BBC just run a thing at the moment looking for disabled people to work in tech. So computers, all that online stuff. And the same goes for there'll be a new push coming up soon for how to make it more accessible. The internet society community are really trying to make the internet accessible. And so, people like you with that experience, get yourself out there. Do a little video saying what's wrong with the media, stick it online, send it to everyone, and tell them, we can tell you how to get it right. And then and there's loads of money in that. There's much more money in telling them why they're wrong than there is in doing it, trust me. I work for Network Rail when I'm not doing all this, make a fortune.
Mick, what channel have you been on?
Well, BBC One, BBC Two, Channel 4, Channel 5, ITV, and this is really funny, Nickelodeon. I was the first continuity presenter on Nickelodeon. When it first opened and we had SpongeBob SquarePants nearly all day, I was the guy that went, okay, that was SpongeBob SquarePants. If you phone in with your requests, we'll choose between, and then you have to choose between cartoons. I remember one, you know Lucy Alexander that does Homes Under the Hammer? Yeah. We worked together on that. We were the presenting duo. And one day we were doing, it was called, what was it? Watch Your Own Wednesday. And you had to ring in with the shows you wanted to watch. And someone rang in and they wanted Blue, the Littlest Vampire. So I went, oh, it's Blue, the Littlest Vampire. I want to drink your blood. And I went like that to bite her. And she jumped a foot in the air, fell off the stool and knocked herself out. She wouldn't work with me from then on, which is really annoying because now I can ring up and go, "Kid, there's a gig on Homes Under the Hammer, could there?" But no, it happened. Anyway, there are more questions. I see one there behind you.
Have you been there anywhere?
You still do it?
And do you do any work there?
How did I get it right? Well,
How do you get there?
well, I'm very lucky because I drive, but I also, as I just said, work for Network Rail. So I do a lot of going around on trains now because trains are getting more accessible, and I teach the staff how to be more disabled friendly. So that they understand that we might need, say, someone to sit down, we might need someone to be quiet because, you know, it's getting a bit much on a platform, because it can be really busy, can't it? Right? And so that once upon a time you'd be ignored, but now we're trying to change that. So that's how I get it. So I drive, or I get cabs. I'm lucky I live in London, so I can get a black cab, and they're great. There you know, you always get a bit of chat from the driver. Or I get on a train. I got on a train here today, I will be getting on a train on the way home.
Right, we have got not many more questions here. I've got a couple over here. Thank you.
Oh, Rick, it's a very good, touching story that everybody embodies, and I was quite impressed if you stick it up for yourself, and for you to tell your nephew for sticking up for yourself. And I think that's very cool for little kids to take the piss out of people who are very ill, if not disabilities, but to go through you when it's with cancer. That's a very wicked thing to do.
The only thing though, the thing I always think is that because they make everyone different, because they sort of separate us out and say, oh, you're that, and you're that, and you're that. But what happens is that breeds that bullying. Whereas if we were all together, you all went to the same school, everyone got on, everyone was made to get together from the moment they were born, right? Then what would happen is that people wouldn't see us as different, so it wouldn't be like that. And so you wouldn't have a society where people went, oh, you're that, and you're that, and you're that, and I'm going to laugh at you. And that's what, we're back to this idea that people think that when you're fighting for disability rights, you're fighting for yourself. But you're not, you're fighting for a better society for everyone. Because when we get equal rights, everyone will get equal rights. Because we're the last sort of gang that's fighting for it. And that's the point.
Right, we've got one more question. Question over here to... One more here.
Yeah, sometimes the politicians look down to us.
Do you know what?
They look down.
Of course, do you know what? It's funny actually, because the other day I went to the Houses of Parliament, to House of Commons, to an event to mark the International Day of Disabled People. And it was a Labour politician, so you thought she'd be on our side, and she started off, she's very lovely, very lovely, very passionate person, really fighting for rights. The first thing she asked the panel of disabled people is, what problems have you had to have because of your disability? And it was like, well, one, if you understand anything about disability, we're not disabled by what's medically different about us. That's our impairment. I'm going to get all social model on you now, right? The social model states that we're not disabled by what's medically different about us. We're disabled by the way society puts barriers in our way. So saying what issues have you had to face because of your disability, you can say things like that question. Right? You get rid of all the barriers and we're not disabled anymore. We're just different. We're disabled, shall we say. And I think that that's it. So you're right, they do. Because mainly, do you know why? Why everyone looks down on us? Because they're scared. Because we represent people who have managed to carve a life for ourselves in a world where we're not told that we're equal. And they know full well, most of them, they're terrified that if they became like us, they're worried that they wouldn't be able to cope. But we can show them that they can. That's the truth, isn't it? What disabled people are is we're proof just how living amazing humans are. We are the best. We've got one here somewhere, and then we've got one here, and then we'll scoop. So we've got another fantastic talk by someone with exceptionally good time. Oh!
Right. When you do speeches, you speak about your band, you start off talking about your band and then you do...
Oh. There you go, you got a better one now.
When you do your speeches,
yeah.
Right, I'm not going to jump on you.
Oh, the leg's ready. There you go, I'm scooting around.
When you do your speeches, you always mention your band,
Yeah.
you don't finish off mentioning them.
Well, so my band, my band is
off
no longer going, you see. So I don't do much singing anymore. I did a Christmas carol service last night, which was different, which was good. But so the band isn't really going anymore. But you can find them on YouTube, and they're also available for free download if you go to my website, which is. Oh, it's having a minute,
What was the band called, Mick?
Yeah, what was the band called? You haven't told us what it was.
One of the bands was called Freak UK. Think of what the initials spell. F-U-K, it's a swear word without a C. And don't forget, my name is Mick without a C, so that's where that came from. We did a roaring t-shirt sale. You wouldn't believe how many t-shirts we sold with F-U-K off. Then I was in a band called Eroticist, and that was a dance band, and we were like, woo! And then modestly, I was in a band called Scarlet Messiah, that actually got to number 7 in the American goth charts. So I was up there with Marilyn Manson and people like that, so it's kind of cool. But yeah, so that's my website. So if anyone wants to take a picture of it, if they want to contact me, that's my access company, and that's me on Twitter. Because we all know that Twitter is just the best thing in the world. And I should be tweeting about this the moment I go away.
Bear with me a second.
That's okay.
To get too fat for this.
Just to let you, Mick, I've added you on Facebook and I'm going to tweet you.
Thank you very much. That's all I see.
Right, can I say thank you very much, Mik. We'll give a big round of applause. I think we'll move on, but Mik will be here for a little bit longer, but he does have to get back to